Hey, it's Elaine. This is episode 313 of the Orange Pill Investor. Happy Merry Christmas Eve. And today I'm going to make a couple quick trades, I suppose. It's a green day, so I'll probably add some covered calls or take some profits, some leverage profits, that is. And then I want to talk about some games. It's about to be Christmas. I meant to do this like a week ago so people could buy stuff early, but Um, if you can grab something last minute or maybe just save it for New Year's Eve, there's some family game type stuff and we always play games at our house. So I kind of made a list of our favorite games that we like to play, that we've discovered over the years. So let's get after it. All right, so the main account, I had added these 20 covered calls because I needed some cash, right? I needed about 30 grand, so I sold some shares, sold some covered calls. My total delta position is about 3,400. I thought it was at 40 something the other day. That can't be right. Just reload this. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. Oh, no, it is. Okay, maybe it was wrong the other day. Oh, I see. Sorry. I had 40 something delta until I added 1,000 delta of short positions here. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. If I didn't have these on, then I'd be at like 4,400. Let's see, what's my other short position? Okay, so I have 100 short here. All right, on a green day, I'm thinking to either take off some leverage or add another couple of covered calls. So let's take a look. What can I get for just a couple days from now? I can actually basically get almost what I got 2 days ago or 1 day ago when I placed these trades. The price hasn't changed much. So maybe I'll just add 5 more, and I'll just sell them right at the money. Okay, of course. J64, Merry Christmas to you as well. Let's try this again. I'm gonna add 5 more. God damn it, I did it again. Sorry. Sorry for the eardrums. You know what? Can I just, I'm just gonna disable the freaking bells. All right, so that gave me another, how much? Like 6 grand. Let's see. 34 is coming out. That is a withdrawal, so I can pay for some things. So that leaves me with like 5 more thousand. Do I need to withdraw that as well, or should I just add my shares back in? Yeah, I might just need to just be a little bit ahead of the game. Mortgages got to get paid in a week, so maybe I will just withdraw another 5 grand and use that for bills. All right, let's take a look at the IRA. I've got 300 shares. I've got 2 in the money leaps. That means at a minimum, I can sell 5 covered calls, but my other long positions adds up to, um, adds up to 700 total. So I could add a couple more covered calls here if I wanted to. Why not? Let's go in on the same thing. So let's just go just above at the money. This should be easier on the ears. Again, I have cash and don't like cash, but what can I get with 1,000 bucks? I could, oh God, I could dollar cost average into these January 1080s. That sounds like a nightmare of an idea. These Junes, the cheapest Junes I can get are 3,000. So it looks like I'll need to add shares here. Am I going to be able to get 3? No. So let's go 2. As long as I've got less cash than one whole share, I'm good to go in this account. All right, the joint account. See, 80 shares. I've got 1 covered call on. I've got about 400 total delta, so I could potentially sell 4 covered calls total. Uh, I've got this 1 covered call in a a poor man's covered call that's kind of upside down. So this is, I don't know if I want to call it dangerous, but delta on it is only 67, so kind of low. But for the heck of it, let's just continue the trend. Sell 360. Have cash. Why did I have an extra 900? All right, so what can I get? 6 shares? Probably 5 shares. Actually, let me see. What kind of long leverage could I get with 1900? Can't quite get April 17th. So looks like shares it is. 5? I'll be able to get 6. Let's see. No. All right, cool. That's good to go. My allowance, no cash to speak of, can almost buy a share. I've got about 126 delta here. I've got 1 covered call. So that's probably all I can do here. And unfortunately, the February 6th or 7th date is not available. So they don't have weeklies out yet for that one. So I can't roll out to 45 days on this one. So I don't think there's anything for me to do here unless I wanted to roll this down for a bigger credit, which kind of, I don't think that really makes sense to do. So that should be done. Let's take a look at the 5K account. And actually before I do that, it's probably a good idea to reset expectations for anybody who's whining about Sailor suppressing the stock price. Like, he announced the plan, was it on October 30th? So As soon as they announced it, they started hitting the ATM pretty hard. So while he was hitting the ATM, it went from 229 up to 421. Like, I showed this chart before and somebody was like, "Yeah, but most of this he wasn't hitting the ATM." Like, dude, he was accumulating as much Bitcoin as he could at uh, the whole time. The fact that they're in a position of financial strength to add more, I think what is in the last year, they've doubled the Bitcoin that it took them 5 years to get. I don't know the exact numbers, but the point I was trying to make when I was going back and forth on X was if somebody says, "Hey, you know what? We came out with this new product and our goal is to move 100 units by Christmas." And they move 200 units, or, Christmas is a month away, but they move 100 units in 2 weeks. You don't bitch and complain that the company outperformed what they what they've said that they've done. So people are bitching and moaning about, "Oh, he said 3 years and he did it in 3 months." Like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to overpromise and excuse me, underpromise and overdeliver. Um, yeah, and then there's the whole thing too about, like, if MicroStrategy was artificially suppressing the price, I'm not an expert exactly, but it sounds like that would be price manipulation, and somebody could sue for suppressing the price. So as far as I'm aware, they use like a trading algorithm, and they're out there just using a sophisticated trading algorithm to try to be invisible to the market and be as undetected as humanly possible. They've they've been as transparent as they can possibly be about it. You know, they've announced what their KPI is. It's going to be Bitcoin yield. They want to increase their sats per share. In the long term, that, should translate into a higher stock price. But if you're measuring, if you YOLO'd in at the top at 421 or whatever it was, 500 a share, and you think it was the ATM that's causing it to go down, but yet when it was 200 a share and it retraced, wait, is this pre-split numbers? Oh, I'm sorry, I went way the hell back. Where's March? Yeah, here we go. Sorry. I went back into the distant past. So in March, it was 200 a share, and then it retraced to 100-ish, right? It like 4x'd, and then it 50%ed after that. So stocks hit resistance, then they find support. Then they hit resistance, they find support. They hit resistance, they find support, and then they break out in a direction. It broke north, which was great. It could have broke south, and it could have went down to fucking 50 or 100 again. Short term, what is it? Short term voting machine, long term weighing machine. That's what this is about. So they have said that their metric is KPI. Does that mean, in 5 years, if that has not translated into a higher MNAV or whatever, and a higher share price, and you know, there should be some kind of multiple because people are expecting that they will continue to execute this thing over 10, 20, 30 years. The stock market is forward looking. And in 5 years, if the chart doesn't still look like this, if there aren't higher highs, then yeah, then I will accept defeat and acknowledge that my thesis on the stock was incorrect. But the fact that it went to 500 a share and retraced 30% is just it's the stock market doing stock market things. So, didn't mean to have that much of a sidebar conversation, but while I was looking at the chart, may as well have. All right, so I got 700 shares of each of my miners. I got 7 covered calls on each. That's good to go. This 600, 700 strike debit spread looks like a loser for January. I'm just gonna wait for that to lose money or not. I've got my one, whoops, covered call against this April, and I will have to roll this April out to at least July probably, and I'll do that in January when this is 90 days to expiration, or I'll make a decision on what to do. Right around the January 17th expiration date, I'll make a decision on that. So nothing else for me to do here. I'll check the chats and then I'll go over my favorite games. All right, Elliot says, "Hey Soul, question about last week's ATM numbers. The SEC filing said that they raised about 560 million by selling 1.3 million shares. That works out to an average of 425 a share. However, we were way under 425 for most of the week. Does that mean Saylor didn't chase the price down?" Sounds like it. Um, I forget which episode it was on, but he was getting interviewed a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of, I don't want to say let the cat out of the bag, but he was talking about there's kind of a sweet spot on the price, and right now is kind of that sweet spot where I'm sure they've done a bunch of calculations and there's a bunch of fucking geniuses behind the scenes, or maybe they got their AI business software crunching the numbers. But he mentioned that, the current price is highly accretive for selling shares and buying Bitcoin. And he said if the price was had crashed all the way down to 100 a share, that would not be very accretive. And if the price had, pumped to 1,000 a share right now, that would be accretive, but it wouldn't be like optimally accretive. So I'm assuming that they have some kind of graph and they're calculating, okay, if our price is this and Bitcoin's price is that, it's optimal to you just do whatever. So I'm sure exactly what you're talking about does happen. I can't say whether it did or didn't happen at this particular time, but it sounds like it. Um, so when the stock price and Bitcoin's price are in kind of a sweet spot for maximum uh, Bitcoin yield accretion, I'm sure they're amping up their activities or slowing down their activities for basically to deliver the most Bitcoin yield for their shareholders, which is exactly what they said that they were going to do. Josh, what's up, brother? Says, yes, sir. This whole concept of Bitcoin yield must and will result in a higher MNAV if you admit this. Yeah, that's that. You know, one guy I was arguing with, he seemed to want to take a victory lap because he got me to admit that a higher MNAV is like the ultimate end game or something. And like, yeah, obviously the MNAV should go up. Uh, but it's gonna fluctuate, and it's just I can't control what the market sentiment is from week to week. But yeah, if we're trading at one MNAV forever, 5 years from now, then I will have to eat crow or whatever. Elliot says, "Thanks, bro. Merry Christmas to you and the fam. I appreciate your time and knowledge. I appreciate you tuning in, and I appreciate those words." Josh says, "Sailor's sweet spot is a ratio of MicroStrategy to Bitcoin, and he is sticking to his guns at 250 shares per Bitcoin." Awesome. Thanks for that info. Scott says he did say recently, paraphrased, that they are leaning more towards convertible bonds from here. It's funny because every time I see someone abbreviate convertible bonds, I read Coinbase. Like I'm surprised I didn't actually even say it out loud. For some reason, I my brain just reads Coinbase every frickin' time, and now I hope that anyone watching, I've transferred that affliction to you as well. Um, it's about culture says Merry Christmas to you, the fam, and the team MSTR. Thank you very much. That is much appreciated because oh, there is some bitter chatter out there. Some people are actually claiming outright, uh, just underhanded. What somebody linked an article, a post talking about the MicroStrategy's price going down as a rug pull. So yeah, appreciate the words. It's freaking Christmas. Uh, it's holiday season, so that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about having some fun. So I put together a list of games that we play or have played, and there's something for everybody in here. So Play Nine is one of our recent favorites. Um, my daughter showed me this one at her we were celebrating her wedding, and so we were playing this one with the in-laws, and maybe I will just try to put this up, and I'll search it as well. Play 9, if you can imagine, it's a, it's a card game, but it's based on golf. And keep this in mind if there's any other gamers out there, I am trying to figure out a way to have a card tournament. So I'd like to have a card tournament with, people from that watch my channel or people that are in the, that follow True North or in the Irresponsibly Long community. I don't know if people like spades or euchre, um, but I gotta figure out a way. It's don't trust, verify. And I would like to think that our community could be trusted to not cheat. But when you're playing partners, there would be, especially we have if people have to pay to get in and want to win money, there could be some incentive to try to DM your partner and cheat. But so I don't know if I have access to lockdown browsers or some way to have a fun thing, but if anybody's got ideas on how to operate an online tournament where people can't cheat, I'm super interested in something like that. But this one is a bunch of fun. Let me see if I can. Okay, so there's actually no screenshots of the actual game. That's annoying as shit. Let me do images. Anyway, here you go. So you're trying to get the lowest score, and this one it's a little bit of strategy. So I'm more of a strategy person. Um, so I can't get with shoots and ladders. You know what I'm saying? I can't get with Parcheesi. I can barely play Parcheesi. There's there's enough of backstabbing in Parcheesi that can keep me interested. But something like this, you have to at least make some decision making. It's a lot of luck, but it is a lot of fun. You try to get matches, and it's just something that you can just play kind of mindlessly with a little bit of strategy and just have a lot of fun chit chatting, family. I'm not sure what the age range is on this, but I'm sure 10-year-olds can play it. So this is one of our favorites, go-to games. Another one is called Farkle, and this is a dice game. You don't have to buy these scoring cards or whatever, but it's kind of like, I don't even wanna say it's like Yahtzee exactly, a little different than Yahtzee. So you're gonna roll 6 dice, and then you, uh, if you get, like, 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind or a straight or, 2 sets of 3 of a kind, 3 fours, 3 fives, then that's worth different points. And also the ones and the fives are worth points. You get you can roll as many times as you want, but if you don't score any points, you farkle and you lose your turn. You get no points. So you're trying to like tempt fate by continuing to roll, and once you've got enough points, you're like, okay, I'll take my points and go home. Uh, for that round. And in this game, it's the opposite of Play 9. You're trying to get the most points. I think you're trying to get to 10,000. So this one is super fun. Again, it's not a lot of strategy necessarily, but there is a lot of tension in the game. Like, okay, am I gonna take my 500 points or my 1,500 points this round, or tempt fate and roll again, and potentially, you know, farkle and kind of crap out, and I get no points. So this is another family favorite. Anybody could play. I mean, you could probably play down to like 6 years old or something. So anybody can play. Any number of people can play because only one person is rolling at a time. This is an awesome game. Bonus points if you can find the Moose Farkle edition. uh, it's got instead of the ones, there's moose on it. So this is the first one that we owned and that I was introduced to. There's nothing special about it other than there's literally just pictures of moose on it. So, let me just check the chats real quick. Yeah, and by the way, the trades are over. So if you want to hang around and see the rest of these games, you're welcome to. Scott says tons and tons of FUD, most I have ever seen. Muted 10x today than all before. Yeah, there's one guy I got to block because he was fucking up my chat with some unsavory comments. But even the guy that I was arguing against, I'm not gonna block him. I'll probably just mute him if I have to. But yeah, for right now, I'm just trying to not not reward bad behavior with with attention. Max says sounds fun. Yeah. All of these are favorites. So exploding kittens is a weird one. It just sounds fun just to say. And this one, can I make this bigger? There we go. This one, obviously, you lose the game if you get exploded, and there's a bunch of different types of cards and ways to prevent yourself from getting exploded. Like, if you have a diffuse card, you can get exploded, you defuse the bomb, and you live to fight another day. You got an attack card, so when it's you actually have to. This one's a little hard to remember sometimes, but you actually play your cards before you draw. Most games you draw and then play. But in this one, you're allowed to play cards, and sometimes you'll play cards to avoid having to draw. Because if you draw the top card and it's an exploding kitten, then you potentially lose the game. So sometimes you'll want to play like a see the future card, so you can see whether it's safe to draw, and then if it's not, then you could play an attack card, forces the next turn to take 2 turns instead of you having to take a turn. So this one is super fun. It's kind of, silly, and, there's tons and tons of games. We actually have the expansion to this one called Zombie Exploding Kittens or some shit, um, and it's fun as well. I mean, all the cards are fairly similar, they just have a couple of new mechanics to the zombie one. But this one, there's a little bit of strategy, tons of luck, but a little bit of strategy in here as well. So you don't have to be like playing 44 freaking double T chess to play this. Um, Power Hungry Pets is another one. This one I don't think is quite as fun as Exploding Kittens, but it's still still a decent game for a little variety. Sometimes we'll throw this one in. So in this one, you're trying to get the highest number card, and the like a perfect 10 is the best card you can get. Oh crap! But there's like danger in holding that card, and then um, I'm really explaining this terribly, but here's a picture of it. So the numbers are 1 through 10, and I think the 3 is like a battle, and, you battle against someone, and whoever has the highest card stays in the game. Whoever ends up with the lowest card gets kicked out of the game. But this one goes pretty fast, so you can speed through this without getting bored. So this one's pretty cool. And these are in no particular order. They're not. Um, this isn't like my 1 to 10 list or anything. Star Realms is another card game, and this one I actually I've spent a lot of time playing on my phone as well. But there's 4 different, um, I guess, tribes within the game. So the blue type is kind of like about getting money and then using the money to buy weapons. The red is kind of like tons of damage. Uh, the yellow, I forget what yellow's gimmick is. Um, but then green is like aliens and getting tons of alien creatures out there. And so this is a little bit of strategy, a little bit of luck involved, but this is a super fun one as well. Onitama. This is one of my wife's favorites, which I also like a lot. Good bit of strategy here. See if there's some images. Yeah. So it's kind of like chess where, each piece moves differently, but instead of the piece moving differently, it's you have two cards in front of you and you can choose which one you want to move. So your pawn, it would be starting in the black square. So you could either, with tiger, you could move up 2 or you could move back 1. So if you have tiger and dragon, you're like, okay, do I want to move up 2 or back 1, or do I want to use dragon and move up 1 over 2 in either direction, or back and down in one direction? And you have 2 pawns and 1 king basically, and the game is the goal is to either uh, take their king, capture their king, or move to their home base. So you can kind of push the king out of his little throne, and then if you can take over his throne, you can win that way as well. We also have the expansion to this one. It's like Ninja Onitama. Adds a nice little spin to it. So you have like a cardboard cutout, and you hide an extra game board behind it, and your ninja is playing on the hidden game board, so everyone can see the main game board, and your ninja's hiding behind, um, kind of a secret game board. So this one's a bunch of fun, and this one's tons and tons of strategy. So if you're a strategy person, this one might be for you. Insider. This one is decent strategy. And whoops, Insider game. Wow, I didn't realize it was going to be that expensive. It's just a pack of cards. Um, this one's kind of cool because this one's very similar to the next one, Resistance. So you 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 one person ends up being, randomly chosen as the insider, and then everybody has to, close your eyes, and then, you know wait, am I getting this one screwed up? So that one I might be explaining resistance. Hold on a second. Game. Okay, not the, board game. Okay, not frickin' PS3 for God's sakes. There we go. So there's 2 teams, basically. There's the Resistance and, damn it, who are they going up against? The other team is like the, I guess it's kinda like the government. And the Resistance are the spies trying to upend the government, and the people who are Resistance, basically open their eyes. Everyone closes their eyes. The people who are Resistance open their eyes, and you kind of find each other around the table, and then you try to work together to not out yourselves. And so everyone is playing the game and pretending to not be the Resistance. Um, so this one's a bunch of fun. And then Insider is very similar. So the Insider, I can't remember if there's one or two Insiders, but it's another thing like this where uh the insider has to open their eyes, and I can't remember if one person, are there 2 insiders? Anyway, it's not gonna come to me, but this one is also fun. It's very similar kind of, theme where you have someone that's that's basically playing the foil, and you don't know who it is, and you're trying to find it. Dead of Winter, this one is a lot of fun, but you gotta have, like, I don't know, a couple of hours to play. It's basically it's us against the zombies, and so there's a good bit that goes into this one, tons of pieces. I there's no way I could explain it. I mean, the rule book's probably 20 pages long, so this is a very involved game. Has a bunch of setup, but it's a lot of fun. So these cards down here, you actually have, you start out with a character, and each one has, like, fighting abilities or searching abilities, and so you gotta try to find clues, and every round, so this is a cooperative game to a certain extent because you're all trying to cooperate to eliminate the zombies before you end up getting, overrun by them. Uh, However, there when you pick a card, it could kind of change your, well, there's a chance to begin with that you could be like a traitor, and so you don't really know if everyone is cooperating or not. So everyone has a little bit of a different win condition, but it is cooperative. Uh, so this one is super fun, but tons of strategy, a little bit of luck, and it's just highly involved. So this is a hell of a lot different than just cracking open Play 9, dealing the cards, and going for it. This is like a whole ass afternoon dedicated to this. Same way for Axis and Allies. I threw this in here because this is one of my all-time favorite games, but I haven't played it for years upon years. But when I was in the Navy, and particularly in Cuba, I mean, we didn't have jack shit else to do. and we played sometimes we would play this for, like, 20 hours, like, 10 hours, and then we'd go to sleep, like, everyone would just leave the game in the common area of the barracks and hope that nobody fricking stumbles in drunk and kicks it over, and we'd just pick up the next morning and play for another fricking 10 hours. Um, it's a little bit lopsided. Seems like the allies have, a bit of an advantage, and I don't know if that was intentional or if, it really is supposed to be super fair. So one way that you can make this game a little bit more fair is if, you make instead of everyone starting out with the same amount of money, you make the allies actually bid for allies. So I can't remember if you're supposed to start with, like, $20 in cash or whatever. But you'd have if it's just you versus one other person, you can say, "Okay, I'll I'll bid allies, and I'll do it with $15 instead of 20." And if the other guy thinks he can play allies and win with 10, then you just kinda go back and forth that way. But this is like a 40-page rules book. There is an online version, I think, and they had a game. I don't know if the online version still works, and I don't know if there's enough popularity to even find a game, find another person online that wants to play this. Um, but yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite games from back in the day. And if anybody has played these, feel free to comment, or if you have your favorite family games as well. Looks like I got 4 more. So this one is an awesome game, actually, and you can play this with young kids as well. But with that being said, this is one of my favorite games. 4-player game or up to 4 players, and everyone's pieces are identical, right? Every player's pieces are identical, and you can only place a new piece caddy corner, corner to corner with another piece, and your own pieces cannot touch anywhere except at the corners, and the whole point is just to try to place all of your pieces. Super easy at first, and then, of course, when it starts to get crowded like this, it's like, "Okay, where can I put this?" And it's called Blockus because, you're trying to put your pieces, but you're also trying to block other people from putting their pieces. This one is a ton of fun. Like, if I had to go in order, I would probably put this near the top. Um, and it's crazy because there's tons and tons of strategy, so it's fun for people. It's fun for adults, but, it's there's not really a whole lot of rules, so this could be easy for kids to learn as well. So, really like this one. Unstable Unicorns is another one, kind of like Exploding Kittens. It's one of these, uh, interesting card games, and it says, "Build a unicorn army, betray your friends, unicorns are your friends now." So, similar situation to the Exploding Kittens, like, there's different types of unicorns, and I think you have to get 5 to win or something. You're trying to add the unicorns to your stable, and once you get 5, you win, and there's tons of cards that let you, prevent other people from playing theirs, or you can steal other people's, unicorns. You can, let's look at them. Actually, these are all the baby unicorns. Here we go. Yeah, so there's magic cards that let you go and search for things. The nay cards prevents the other person from playing a card. So that's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a reverse Uno card or something. Uh, anyway, this one's a ton of fun. I I think my wife begrudgingly agrees to play this one with me sometimes. Um, eh, I don't think it takes that long to play, but she likes fast-paced stuff that's you can play multiple rounds. And this one just takes a little bit longer to play, maybe than the Exploding Kittens. And then the last two are going to be very similar games. These are total just luck. I mean, there's a tiny little bit of strategy here, but Sushi Go, it's fun. The point is to collect like whatever it says on the card. So for Tempura, you'd have to collect if every time you collect a pair, you get 5 points. Dumplings, if you collect one, it's worth 1 point. Two of them is worth three. Three of them is worth six. So everybody kind of gets their strategy. The nigiri are just worth whatever it says on the card. And after several rounds of playing different things and everyone trying to kind of backdoor each other for the strategy that they're going for, you end up adding the points up at the end. Quick paced game, not hard to learn. And Go Nuts for Donuts is going to be very similar. You got, points on different cards and, you know, everybody wants the friggin' Boston creams because if you get, you know, all 6 of them, it's like 20 something points. Some of the cards are negative, but then some other cards give you positive points if you have negative cards. Um, Again, it's a ton of luck, so it's not a lot of strategy here, but, you know, another fun family game. Kids will enjoy it. And the way that this one goes is you're gonna deal out the cards so everyone can see them, and then you've got every single player has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in their hands. And if you decide that you want the card that's in front of the number 1, the card that's in the first position, then, you know, you all turn up your card at the same time. But if you and somebody else both turn a 1, then you cancel each other out and that card is busted. But if you turn over a 3 and you're the only person that wants the card in the 3rd position, then you get to take that card, and then at the end of the round, you add up all your points. So, those are a list of our family's kind of top, 10, 15 games that we play around the holidays, and, I'm sure tonight, Christmas Eve, we will be playing one of these. Um, you know, it's a heck of a lot better than my son being on Fortnite all night, so he enjoys most of these, and, so all the way from, 20 somethings to 6-year-olds, I'm sure you can find something good in here, and like I said, there's enough strategy in a lot of these to keep me interested as well, even being kind of a hardcore gamer that I am. So, alright, hopefully, I don't see a lot going on in the chat, but if anybody has any questions about this, or if you have any last minute trading questions, today is gonna be a short day, so I think you only have 30 minutes of trading left. Otherwise, we will see you later. I'll count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, be good, y'all.